Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you all with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you will accept and receive the healings, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. And so, as a lot of times, hi, Desert Rose, as we've been chatting in the chat room, getting ready here, as I've been, getting my you know, getting my coffee ready and saying hi to Bob. We're sending a prayer out to Bob. That we have a decent connection tonight. Thank you, Bob. Haven't been out much lately, but anyway, greetings and blessings to all of you folk, and I hope, truly hope, that things are going as well as possible in your neck of the woods. And this is sort of a gosh, I hate to use the word update sometimes. Hi, Dominic, how are you? But it is in that if those of you who've been hanging around me long enough to know, have you hear me talk about the observer, that we as the observer, everything is affected by how we observe things. Well, in these recent months, with all of the current events and things that have happened on this planet, you know we all need to reconsider. Cheers to you, Dominic. We all need to reconsider our point of view. In fact, our viewpoints have been reconsidered for us, whether we actually wanted wanted our viewpoint to change or not. With things being locked down and this and that, and what's the deal with the toilet paper? But the whole thing, our whole paradigm has changed, and not just one person, two people, three people. The entire planet is going through this. And to be able to see from an observer point of view, each of us are an observer, right? So, from an observer point of view, hasn't our viewpoint changed? I mean, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago, our viewpoint has changed. What's it going to be in 2 more weeks? Now, I'm not trying to be prophetic in this in any way, shape, or form about what's going to happen in the future, but because already things have, the reactions of people have been a lot better than I would have assumed in at another time. So a couple of years ago, I would have said, "Oh my God, this planet is doomed. We're never going to get out of this shit alive." And now I'm looking around, different viewpoint, different situation. A year or two later, or maybe more, but over the last 2 years, I've been increasingly gratified by the response of the planet, and that people are waking up in different ways and are taking things more serious, and the way people are handling the situation now. Is it perfect? No, but it could be a lot worse. We must, I don't want to go there, but holy crap, could it be worse? So right now everything is under control, and I think that in certain areas of the universe, if you will, that the higher beings have heard us. The planet has heard us because we have not overreacted. From our viewpoint, we could have chosen, many of us could have chosen a lot of different avenues. We could have got really pissed off. We could have started rioting. It could be a lot different. Hey, there, David Castle. It is greetings and blessings to you too. So is this world has never been perfect, and I'm not asking for a perfect world, but in a lot of ways, we have done things much better than I think other folk have anticipated. Now, what does that mean about, what do I mean about this particular title of this particular subject? I think it's important for us to understand spiritually, mentally, physically, the whole thing, our viewpoint of what's ahead of us. Each of us have got their own place we live, their own neck of the woods kind of thing, your own neighbors, your own situation. So, what I talk about and what's available or can work in your realm is not the same thing. They could correlate or something, but we each one of us has to deal with our own situation from our own viewpoint. Now, So has our viewpoint changed? You damn straight it has. Each one of us. But in the grand scheme of things, has it? Not really. We still want world peace. We still want to get along. Those of us who understand that we're members of the League of Like Minded Beings, we know there is this higher thing that's above all this down here. Even though what this stuff in current events affects us, it's how we allow it to affect us. That's from our observer point of view. So, where a lot of people that I've known, that I know, would have reacted differently a couple of years ago. Now, for whatever reason, thank you, Jesus, and all the spirits, that these folks are not overreacting. And I'm folks that I know, and I'm like, well, great. I'm serious. Great. I'm surprised. So, but I think in that, from our observer, something changed for them to change their point of view. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is, but I've noticed that there are a lot of other people changing. Their viewpoint has changed. There are those who are still complaining that the world is going to come to an end. And, years ago, I talked about the Bible and Revelations. I said, Revelations is the revealing, the lifting of the veil. If you can't see now that the veil's been lifted and we can all look around and see what's going on, and we now have the opportunity to stand still and like take some of this stuff in, you don't think our viewpoints changed? Oh, yeah. And folks who never thought about changing their viewpoint are changing their viewpoint. So this is in essence an update for every single one of us on this planet. Our viewpoint has changed. So therefore, what we thought 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 6 months ago, and what we think now and what our future is going to be. Now, I want to say right off the bat, I think we're going to make it through this. Yes, there are going to be people hurt. Yes, there are going to be some, there are people suffering. Yes, there are things going on. But for those of us who have planned for certain things in the long run, I knock on wood, we're sitting pretty good. You know, I'm not wanting for anything. A couple of things I'd like to have, but nothing that I need or, that I'm out of or anything. And so I consider myself very lucky, but other people won't plan the way some of us do. And that's through wisdom and experience. And that's why I keep praying, for every single one of you, your friends and your family and your neighbors, that they will accept and receive this wisdom. Because doing a little bit of planning ahead and using a little bit of cosmic thinking and a little bit of self-restraint and a little bit of, hey, maybe I should stop and look at the situation and reevaluate how I may have acted in the past and how I'm going to react to this now. So in that, because the majority of people's reaction, in my humble opinion, has been less than what the chaos order may have wished, I think that has made a profound difference. And where this is going to go, I hope it's just going to be a positive influence regardless, because every single person on this planet is not going to forget this next week. Okay. Next month, next year. This is a 9/11 event for the planet. Okay. In that this is affecting so many people all around the world. And so where 9/11 was tragic and all that kind of stuff, and this is tragic, don't get me wrong. There are people very just up the road from here in Albany, Georgia, that have passed away. And people say, wow, those people didn't. Oh, yes, they did really die of this virus. And if not the virus, then they were sick from some type of influenza. Either way, these folks died, and they're just, 40 miles up the road. So it's in my neighborhood. We understand it, but nobody's going, bat crap, cray cray. You know what I mean? Which is good. A lot of people are being cautious, and we should. And everybody is taking this seriously, but they're being kind to one another and they're being cheerful. And there are some people who haven't spoken to each other that are now speaking, because it might be across the ditch, but they're speaking to one another like, hey, how you doing? You okay over there? Yeah, well, and so From an observer point of view, certain people observed, well, I wouldn't have talked to my neighbor before, but now for some reason it's important that I at least speak to them, that I reach out. And instead of but the people are still clammed up in their house, but they're at least standing on the other side of the ditch and talking to one another. It's like they're apart, but they brought them closer together. What an odd, like, reverse psychology, something. If I was to, like, to sit down and predict how this would have turned out, there are a lot of surprises, and I'm sure there are some other folks that are surprised as well. But I also look at this as that there, though, because I look at things cosmically, not just here in this 3D reality, but this can be the lower fourth dimension waking up for people, especially opening up the higher third dimension for this, the transition. Because guess what? People are now looking at things from a different viewpoint, a different point of view. They're still the same people, but because of their observations of the world, observations of the planet, observations of the whole nine yards. I don't want to sit here and list them, bless you all. But and let's see. But anyway, let me finish with this, and then I'll jump over here to the chat for a minute. But in this, we are all in this together, and so it's showing up in some of the commercials. It's showing up in how people are reacting. It's showing up in we, not just as um, um, simple human beings, and not just Americans, but as a planet. Holy crap. When in history has this ever happened? God knows we hope in history it don't happen anytime in the near future, but guess what? We've made it up to this point. And from our viewpoint, look at what we've been able to accomplish up to now. Now, I ain't got a clue what tomorrow's going to bring. But from our previous events, I'm thinking because our individual viewpoints have changed into more of a collective, if you will, in that the collective thought is, oh man, this is pretty weird. We're all going to have to, be careful here. And now I know I'm down here in the South, and I'm proud of us Southerners. Not to say that folks in other parts of the country or the world are not any less, but I know there are areas where people are arguing and fussing and fighting and breaking and doing and things, and they may not have any other choice. I know I've been in situations before when I was younger, living out of a cardboard box. I didn't think I had any choices. And my reaction, because my viewpoint was different. When you live in a cardboard box, your viewpoint is different. So if you're homeless on the street, or you're poor and you're hungry and you blah blah blah, your viewpoint's different from the rest of us. So you may be prone to want to break into a place or do a certain thing. Now, somebody stealing a TV, that's just vandalism. But somebody stealing food because they're out or something, that we have to reconsider that. But to the point, though, generally speaking, I know there are a lot of people in some of these big towns, and many of us have warned them, get out now. Oh no, I love the city with 5 million other people. Go ahead. And now I'm sure some of these people are regretting it. Sorry, a lot of us tried to warn you a long time ago. You should make other plans. Densely populated areas are not necessarily the best thing for you to do. I know, there are folks who live here, they love it, but is it wise for you and yours and for your future? You have to think about that. So now people, guess what? Have a different point of view. And they're thinking, holy crap, maybe I should have moved to Uncle John's farm out there in the middle of Alabama somewhere. Maybe I should have took somebody up on a plot of land somewhere out in the country. And just saying, your viewpoint can change really quick under the circumstances. In some of the storms that I've been over in my many years, you wake up the next day and the trailer park's gone across the road, and you go, things change. Your point of view changes. And so do your feelings about things. I mean, stuff you didn't even think you'd feel or understand or even be aware of in the previously, or now your viewpoint has changed drastically. Well, now I feel this about some. Now I'm not as angry as I thought I would be. Now I want to go down and talk to my neighbor down the street instead of ignoring them. Now I find out that they are a little quirky, but they're not such bad people. We just never talked. And so when you don't talk to one another, then you don't know whether the other well, that could be a creepy person. Every time I drive by, they give me a strange look. Well, but from your point of view, you might think, well, they're looking at you like you're a crazy mo. And they may be looking at you going, I wonder who that crazy person is. You don't know what they're thinking unless you stop and ask. Period. Everything else is just your point of view. But unless you stop and ask and communicate, and I've seen in driving through the small towns around here, going to the store the other day, neighbors who may have never played lawn darts before are out cooking out and playing lawn darts. They're live next to each other, so it's not like they can really run from where they live or each other. But if they're all safe, then they're all playing and having an outdoor picnic where that might not necessarily have taken place before because everybody's been inside and now people can't go to work or things are restricted. Now they want to be outside. Now they want to be around other people and now they want to communicate. Interesting that this has this twist, which I think is a great one. Well, let's see how far it goes. But now for everything that we observe, the uncertainty principle, okay? The observer point of view. So why can't certain experiments be exactly the same every time? Because the outcome is affected by the observer. Okay. We have discussed this before, but it's so very real. So if we observe things to be like we're all going to die, then maybe we would. But we've all taken a different point of view from this. And we've said, maybe we should stay home and we should do this and we're going to do this and we're going to support my friend and I'm going to stay in touch with such and such. I've been calling my friend more here this last 2 weeks than I have in the last 6 months. And I realized that I should have called her before. But because of this, it's like we all have a tendency to have little lonely spots, or we talk to people online or something. But it's nice to talk, and sometimes I'm lost in my own little hermit world down here, and I'm thinking about folks, and I'm sending out prayers. But I need to, other people need to pick up the golly dog phone and call somebody and speak 10 words to them and say, I love you. Hope you're doing okay. Call me if you need me. And and if you end up chatting longer than that, fine. If not, then that other person knows that you care and they've heard your voice. And I say voice, don't text them for a god dog it. Talk to them. If anything, this should bring us together in the more people are having more conversations. They're having discussions. Why? Because their viewpoint has changed. So, but as it's changed, I don't see people like, and now I got to say that ammunition and arms sales are through the roof, but so are seeds. Some of the seed stores, feed and seed stores have never had better seasons. The seeds are flying off the shelves. Literally, they can't keep stocks of seeds in for just common stuff. So people are obviously taking an interest, which is great. So people's viewpoints have changed, and now it seems because of these other things, not necessarily the guns per se, but the seeds and certain things, and people are building things riding down the road. Folks are building a porch. I'm doing some building around here, which I would have done anyway, um, uh, but being retired, but other people are doing things. Well, I can't do this and I can't do that. And I've been needing to fix that for a while. And people are having this little opportunity to do so, which, they're not in a rush because they know we're all stuck in this situation together. So it's not like when I lost my job back in 2005 to NAFTA, there were 700 of us that felt very alone. No, there were 7 billion people on this planet who are feeling very similar types of things. So are we all in this together? You betcha. So when you think about whatever your viewpoint is, there's somebody out there. We're sharing a lot of this stuff together, my friends, as you probably already know. But it is our reaction to it that is part of the cause and effect. So for those people, the observer point of view, the uncertainty principle, if you got five people in a room and two of them are going, I don't think this is going to work, the uncertainty of it not working is leaning more towards, like 60% instead of 90 or 95% of it working. So the observer point of view, so if enough of us are thinking, holy crap, this ain't going to work, it may not, because we're convinced that it won't. But I'm seeing a much more better Potter. Yeah, that's really good English, isn't it, Hawkeye? And Bob, we love you. Time for, but in this, we are in this together so that we at least agree on certain key points. And with those certain key points, meaning that I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to fist fight with my neighbor. I'm going to stay as positive as I can under my circumstance. And I'm going to reevaluate and reconsider my current situation, my families, those around me, and other things. And there are things that I've reconsidered, I wasn't even in the picture. Just, wow, that's because our every single one of us, our viewpoints have changed because of this situation. Now, I let me take a break here and say hi to everybody and blessings to you all. And I sincerely hope that things are going as well as possible in your world. Time for a little, wow, 21, 22 minutes almost was straight yapping. How about that? I can set a record of yapping if, if you give me a chance and not repeat myself. Ween. Hi, everybody. And a cosmic hug because let's do the old fist bump thing. But, you know, um, this evening, to get out of doing work around the house, I took a ride around the country around here. I got Miss Deb to go with me, and it's been her first time of riding around the country here. And like us rednecks like to do every once in a while, especially in the spring, roll down the windows and ride down the dirt roads and just take a peek at things. And so, but in that, one place that we stopped checking the river and the conditions of it, I'm standing there as we pulled up to the bridge. Number one thing, there is this great big bird sitting there, and holy crap, it's a turkey. I mean, a great big turkey sitting on this on the old It's an old concrete bridge, and so it's just sitting up there on the concrete, as we pull it up real slow, and it flies off. But then also at this one place, I'm standing there looking, and there's a beaver swimming, upstream from where I'm standing, and it went under and it came out. And I Miss Deb, hey, we got a beaver over here. It played around a little bit and then went away. But um, beaver is one of those things that lived in my backyard along with otters. And so spiritually for me to have the beaver, and if an otter had showed up, that would have been like, the double the deal. But from some of the spiritual things, and as a shaman in training and some of the Native American things and prayers and stuff, I've had beaver and otter and also owl and hawk. So beaver and otter are my two water brothers, if you will, and hawk and owl are my two air brothers or sisters. Have anyway. So with beaver shows up, I know that otter is not far away, and if I see an otter, I know beaver's not too far away. It's sort of like a brother's kind of thing. If I see a hawk, I know the owl's not far away. If I hear an owl, I know that, anyway. So it was nice to, take a ride that I hadn't taken in a while and just to go see how the river is doing and so forth. And spring coming up, is around and the weather's nice and cool right here, right now. But what does this have to do with the observation? Okay, in observation, I realized that there are people who observe things, but it's your let me see. Give me a second. Let me say hi to everybody first. Um, Then I'll forget where I was. That's okay. Somebody remind me. Teresa, how are you? Project Skyfalls. Robert, how are you? Good to see you. Hello, everyone. Um, Michelle, howdy, howdy. Chloe, good to see you. As always, Dominic, again, hello. Teresa, Michelle, Dominic. Centurion World, if you're there. Millie Cow in the background. I hope you're still there. Love and prayers to all of you. David Castle, as always. And, fist bumps and cosmic hugs, everybody. I'm not really reading what's going on, but what is y'all's just general opinion? Do you think we're doing on a scale of 1 to 10? How are we doing? You think 5, 6, 8, 9? Now I know that things aren't perfect, but if you don't mind, put a number down. How do you think we as a society's doing because of all this? Do you think we're handling this pretty good? I'm just curious. So if you don't mind. But in this cosmic viewpoint of things, a 7, not bad. Hey, Robert, an 8. Wow, Teresa. See, I'm kind of up in there too. A 7.5, 8, sometimes a 9. In certain situations, like down here in the in the South, um, 4 below average, huh? It's from where you are. And Teresa says, nope, chaos. See, and it's not chaos down here. People are handling it, but that's this is from my point of view. That's why I'm asking, you see. Teresa says people pulling together. Yep. Yeah, 4 below average. Yep. Dominic, it's okay. And see, that's the point of a viewpoint. It's your viewpoint from what you see. And Millie Cow says a 7 or 8 around here. So that's my point. Not everybody's gonna and not everyone's area. Say that 3 times real quick. Not everyone's area is going to be as calm or like down here in the South. I'm proud to be a Southerner. Now that, but like I said, it doesn't mean that Northerners can't be nice folk too. From up in Ohio, I know a lot of folks up there. I've talked with my family members up there in Middle Ohio, and folks are pulling together up there, and they're proud of the fact that the state's been shut down so people don't get sick, and they're reacting totally different than some of the other people. Now, these are us poor folk down here on the bottom looking at things, not somebody that's running a business and all this. No, this is just us common folk looking at what's going on, and we think it's not as bad as it could be. And we're grateful that it's not any worse. So we're going to keep a positive attitude and without anybody telling us to, which has been the interesting thing. I'm always trying to put a positive spin on things, even though things can be for crap. But the thing is though that if we continuously focus on the crap, then that's all we end up with. So we've got to be able to rearrange our point of view periodically, especially when major things like these events going on. And I'm just going to leave it at that. It's not just the virus; it's all of these events. But the fact that there are so many of us who are saying, we're going to get through this. Yeah, okay. And because we don't feel alone, that's where I was trying to hit with this earlier. Yeah, it's not just, the farmers aid or a certain group of the planet. No, it's all of us are affected by this. So how we take this in future events is going to depend on each one of us and it will grow as a collective as to how do we want the future to be. Do we want to riot over this? Do we want to tell our congressman who might listen more now or something? Or do we want to, take things, I say, more into our own hands, like local government, local neighborhoods, and just family and pulling together more instead of being so fractured the way we were. And some might, I have talked with a couple of people kind of off to the side, and we were all going, in the long run, I think this is kind of helping us. As odd as this seems, like, people are talking, let's not say anything to anybody else because they might think we're crazy. That a negative event has positive effect. How in the hell can that happen? From our observer point of the yeah, let me try that over. From our observer viewpoint and from our point of view, how do we wish it? Now, Dominic, I don't know where you live. It's okay, but to the point though, if I lived in a different area, that would not be the same as where I live at now. So that's just I know that. If I live closer to Albany, or if I live closer to any of the towns, if I didn't live here, I know things would be different because my viewpoint would also be different from my point, from my location, and so. But anyway, without dragging that through the mud so many times, where do we want to take this? So my idea here is how do we pay this forward? Maybe this is just a suggestion that if so many of us continue on with, what, we're going to come out better at the end of this, and we're going to make it through this. And different corporations, different peoples, different commercials, a lot of people expressing themselves like I have for a long time, but not to pat myself on the shoulder, but trying to put the message out there. We need to stick together on all things, not just this, but look at the effect that it seems that we've had. So if we keep up this good work, the angels are listening, the universe can hear us, our emotions, we keep them in check. We become that compassionate observer, as I've discussed before, in that when you need to, jump in. But if you need to stay out of it, keep your emotions out of certain things so that you can keep your wits about you. Then you keep yourself, your core family, and those around you safe and sound and healthy and as well as possible. Guess what? It's working mostly. There are those who would complain, well, the numbers have gone up over here, and maybe we should, and I think we should sit. What's another week going to hurt? I know a lot of people are kind of listen. If we jump the gun and go back to normal too quickly, this could not turn out well. The worst part of any disease is getting up too soon when you need to rest. And so for those folks, now I'm not going to get into politics or using people's names, but I'm just going to talk in general about sickness, disease. Listen, I've had 3 operations on my neck. I've had 3 operations on my knee. I've had other kinds of surgeries and procedures. And trust me, after any kind of major ordeal, which this is a planet-wide ordeal, we don't need to get up and try to run around the block right away. We're still going to have a cast on. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, though, we should, I think, for those people who are trying to push this, oh, we're okay. Hang on, not too soon. This has nothing to do with politics or who's right or wrong, but it has to do with infectious disease. It has to do with, jumping the gun too soon from being under any type of quarantine or health issue or anything. We can't go back too quick. We got to be careful with that. So I want to put that out there. And for some of these folks, well, I think we should just, stop all this nonsense, and we should. Quiet. You just need to chill your horses for. You just hang on. Back off that a little bit. We do not need to jump back into things too quickly. My humble opinion. But not from a political or any other kind of standpoint, except the health issue and the transmission of anything, actually. But we just need to be a little bit more cautious for a little longer, and then we can be absolutely certain. And I see no reason why anyone would want to argue that point because we've made it this far. Okay. Think of what the reverse of this could be. And then we'd be back into this, but the situation would be worse. You know what I mean? No. You got stitches. Okay, you keep the band-aid on until the skin's healed over, and then for God's sakes, you don't go back outside and play in the mud and open the wound, because you're gonna get it infected, you're gonna get sick. So, the whole planet is under a band-aid. And so we don't need to snatch that band-aid off too quick, because the scab will come off, it'll bleed again. You know what I mean? Think about it. But anyway, enough of that. But from the standpoint, though, of how we observe things. Oh, but I was going to get into earlier, and then I got a drink of coffee, and I'll try to stay on topic this time, but have another salute to Bob and Ween, everybody. As a shaman in training, the medicine people and so forth I've worked with, people, and it's true, you wish to expand your mind. I got some brownies that'll expand your mind, but anyway, truly. But in the idea of expanding your mind. So how do you expand your mind? Well, by being more aware. Well, what do you mean? What's that got to do with it? Well, if you're not aware of anything, then how do you know your mind's expanded? How do you know that you're trying to attain more information, or I hate to say reach a higher goal, but to learn more things about nature or plants or critters or the sky or whatever, right? So your awareness is tied right into your field of vision, your point of view. All right. So for me, I grew up a Catholic, so I had to get, and I still got a lot of Catholic in me, don't get me wrong. But the idea, though, that I had to unlearn some of these things to become more aware of the universe, because the Catholic religion, in so many ways, is so narrow-minded. So you can only see a religion or spirituality like this, okay? So as I got out of the Catholic Church, my vision increased like this. So now I see the Catholic Church, but I see the Baptist and the Methodist, and I looked at the Christian churches. And then so in my expansion, I opened up my hands wider, which is awareness, which is knowledge, and etc. In that, okay, now I started looking into Buddhism and Hinduism, and I've got a copy of the Bhagavad Gita upstairs, all three, so, and other spiritual books. And I've got a book about Padre Pio and his life and times and things about him. And, but so from spirit, if you look at it from this one point of view, then how much awareness can you actually have? It's limited because of what you're looking at or towards or for even. So when you go down them rabbit holes, and you dive your head down, you're only going to see what's in that hole. So, but if you look at the field where the rabbit holes are, you'll be able to observe what's going in and out of them rabbit holes versus just looking down one, you see. So your awareness increases exponentially when you start realizing, whoa, I'm looking down the rabbit. But wait a minute, but there's more than one rabbit hole. Whoa, crap, there's two. So as your field of vision, which is your field of vision in here, in, these two eyes, this eye, the whole deal. So, but if you're only looking like here, then your awareness can't get any bigger than that, because you're only seeing that much. So, but as you allow other things to come in, then your awareness increases. And as your awareness increases, you realize how freaking stupid in the universe you really are and how much you really don't understand. But at the same point, you understand that you are truly a part of it, whether you completely understand it, but you fully it's a weird thing, but when you as your expansion as your awareness expands, your field of vision and so forth, and what you allow and you bring in and you experience, and as you attain the wisdom of these things through observation, then you realize, oh holy crap, man, I'm a part of this. And wow, that's really cool. And I know I am, but wow, I'm a little thing, but I'm still a part of the whole. You know, you can say, well, look at the beach. Well, yeah, they're tiny little particles of stuff and they're all laid out and they make up the beach. But if you take them little particles away, you ain't got a beach. So, it's our collective little particles that make us a nice sandy beach or a rocky shore, I guess. That's a hell of a way to kind of look at it. But I think you get my point in that but each of us, regardless of where we are on the sandy beach, we still make up the beach. Oh, sunny beach, Um, but but in the galaxy, this awareness, this openness, as you realize, wow, there's more to this than just this point of view. So your awareness increases, the um by allowing awareness to come to you, you realize you are more aware of what's out there. And do you get that? The more you allow yourself to be aware, the more that awareness will expand. If you say, well, there ain't nothing out there for me to be aware of, are you sure? That statement right there just put a staple in a period at the end of your sentence or paragraph. And cosmically, you ain't going any further because you've said, you've given it a definition, a point in time and space that it doesn't exist beyond here because your awareness can't conceive it. Now, as far as our future events, I'm observing this as a compassionate observer, and I'm saying to myself, I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm hoping, and I'm going to hope that everybody else is going to hope that things turn out for the better versus we're all going to die, which we are anyway, but at some point. So, but in that, regardless of current situations and circumstances, I think as a whole, we surprised a bunch of folk cosmically, spiritually, on different levels of reality. Why? Because our energy didn't drop the way a lot of these folks thought. So, this lower energy is what them chaos folk love to chew on for dessert. And we didn't give them I don't think we gave them what they thought they were going to get for dessert. You know what I'm saying? And in that respect, I think we all deserve a pat on the back, but it's not to be narcissistic and to say, oh, look how great we've done. But we do need to say, we've made it this far, guys. Cheers. We're going to keep doing the best we can. Cheers. We're going to move forward with this, and I am going to expand, allow my point of view to expand and to take in other things I might not have considered before. Not that you have to act on them or anything. You're just going to allow your awareness to look at other things, as people are doing right now. Who would have known that there'd be a run on toilet paper? I mean, and all the things like, what, are you serious? I think I even did a video and said, we're pretty safe with toilet paper because we make that here in the United States. Guess what went first? Toilet paper. I was dead wrong on that one. But anyway, uh, you know, I'm wrong too sometimes, in fact, I kind of hate being right sometimes because, but anyway, in this, I feel really positive about this though, and all the like, what's going to happen and what's out there and the evildoers and all that. I think we've already proved that we can handle situations when the need arises, and that not as many people are panicking that maybe, like I said, some folks might have expected. Our viewpoint as a society has changed. We can't go back from this. Now, where we go forward with it is up to our collective us. But there are people who just like, they had everything, none of them are going, you know what? I never thought this would happen. Let me reconsider. Yeah. So, um, could this be the catastrophe that wipes out the planet? There are lots of stuff that could wipe us out. But is this the lifting of the veil, the apocalypse of the Bible, where we see what's been hidden for so long? The truths are coming out, like blatantly coming out, the truth, without there being there's still some muckety muck in the news, that, but there's a lot of truth that's come out. And I mean, they literally have a hotline now for people who have been abused by Catholic priests. I don't know if they can still accept something that happened in 68 or 9 or 70, 71. But I'm going to call these guys and have a conversation to go. Anybody reported on these people down in Florida? If not, I want, whether I get anything out of this or not, I want these priests, their names put on the list. Why? Because if somebody calls and they may not have stayed in Tampa, they moved from someplace else to Tampa. So maybe but somebody knows these priests. So it's not so much that I get satisfaction out of it, but there's somebody who really gives a damn now. Now it might be profit motivated, but at least before it was like, shh, that don't really happen. So guess what? Our point of view has changed as a society in a lot of different ways, not just because of this, but because of this, these other things are changing. I find it interesting. And as an observer and as a watchman, it's like, well, I'd put bets on certain things, but man, if I was a betting man, I'd have lost big time with some of this. Are changes coming? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is it going to be big? Yes. Is it going to be people running out of toilet paper? No. Lost that one. Here's my $20. Uh, you know, but at other things that have the have certain events taken place. Yes. The event, for example, is the whole planet shut down. So is things with money and things tight? Well, they're tight in the sense that the whole planet shut down. So are things changing the way people feel? Yes, because the whole planet shut down. So has a big event happened to us? Duh. you know, Guess what? Doesn't that change our point of view, our viewpoint of things? So, yeah, I'm kind of sort of being redundant now, but there are a lot of different ways. That's why this is sort of a part two. 6 months ago, or maybe longer, I talked about the compassionate observer, and I keep talking about this to other people in different ways, but they all agree after a point. They go, he was right. Not that the reason they were feeling so badly or whatever had to do with they were allowing their emotions to become too involved with something they actually may not have been able to have affected, but they were watching something, but then also becoming emotionally involved in it. And it was literally killing some of these folk. And they realized, oh, holy crap, Hawkeye might have a point there about, always observe, keep your eye out for shit, and expand your awareness, expand your viewpoint, allow other possibilities. They don't have to exist. You don't have to be able to, well, I don't know, if ghosts really exist. Well, Dave talks about them and blah, 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 and other people. But hang on, let's just, for the example, just don't say no. That's all. Just say, well, I don't know if ghosts exist. I've not seen one. I'm speaking in terms of other people. I've seen ghosts, several, but in terms of, you may not believe it, but you can at least say, well, wait a minute. Instead of saying, no, they don't exist, I'm going to say, maybe. That's a big change to from a certainty of no to a maybe. Well, it's a possibility. Ah ha ha ha! You've just expanded your awareness because now instead of saying no, you've just allowed yourself that maybe that could be, or maybe, So you've allowed yourself to become more aware by becoming less constrained with your own feelings, your thought patterns, your social mores, how you grew up, what church you attended, whatever you went through. Past is past, and you cannot drag it forward. As much as them priests affected my life, it's over. And I've talked about this before, but I drug it forward myself. Today we were having a conversation and I realized that had I gone any more with trying to recall something, it would have triggered a bad emotional event. Stop it. No, I don't want to become emotional. I can discuss it if necessary, but the past is past and I cannot go into further energetically or with my frequency or my whatever if I'm dragging a negative behind me. It's going to tie me to the third dimension. If I want to transcend to the fourth dimension, I must leave all this crap behind. I can't get rid of the thoughts, don't want to, but can I understand that I don't need to become emotionally involved? Not just in that, but in any of this. I can pick and choose what I wish to become involved with. And whether or not I want to go, oh my God, I'm having a Louisa, help me, Jesus, I'm having a heart attack here. Oh, I don't know if I could. Margaret, help me. Calm down. Don't get your underwear in a bundle. Hang on there. So our viewpoint, though. So I'm thinking about Archie on the back in the day, and he was always talking the meathead and the Polacks and the Jews and the nigger. And so it's like, but even Archie Bunker had a different change of heart. He started seeing things from a different viewpoint. His awareness increased. And he got to know a Jew that wasn't so bad. And he got to know a black guy that wasn't so bad. And, Archie Bunker, he expanded his awareness. And so in certain ways he became a better person because he expanded his awareness. So even in characters and we in things, but in real life, if you allow these things to happen and take control of your emotions, but for God's sakes, don't be cold-hearted and that is not what I mean. But there were times when I would get mad and angry at things in the world that I really couldn't control. But my whole anger, then everything was angry for the day and sometimes for a week. Damn sons of bitch. And it's like, Archie Bunker. Somebody said, Grandpa said on himself, sons of bitches are always the same. You know, no, no, sorry, can't go there. Don't want to be that. Don't want to live in that realm because that energy is so low. But when we become stable and can view and our awareness is open and we can jump in where necessary and get the hell out when that's where wisdom comes in. Compassion is one thing. Somebody's bleeding. If you know anything, you're going to try to, well, folks that are afraid of blood, but for me, I'm holding the bloody stump of this guy, literally. And I'm okay with it, even though I'm holding this bloody stump of this guy. And I was all right. We wrapped him up, we prepped him, he got in the ambulance, and then they brought his foot around the side of the truck in a plastic bag. And that almost made me throw up. And I was like, well, what's the difference? I had my hands on the stump of this guy's leg, literally. But I'm going to get sick over seeing his foot in a bag. What a, like, I still have dreams of that event. And my reason is like I'm curious as to why the foot got me, but not holding on to this guy's stump. Who knows? But it's it's the observer point of view, I guess. It was surreal. It was real me holding on to the guy's leg. It was surreal seeing his foot in a bag. And even to this day, I'm like, right now, I'm like, I don't understand why one affected me and the other one didn't. But is it viewpoint, or is it, our awareness? Whatever it is, but things in life, sometimes we can put up with a bloody stump, but we can't, you know, the foot in the bag gets us. I mean, who knows what triggers us? But here's the thing that I've learned since that time. That's been about that was in 2009 that happened. So that's been 11 years, well, going on 11 years ago that happened. But and the guy's still walking around. It was a good outcome for that, and glad the angel sent me on that mission. We saved that man's life. Um, Although we didn't save his leg, we did save his life. So we never know when we're going to be asked to do something, and if we're always emotional about things, then when the angel messages come to each one of us, when our higher self wants to help us or guide us or whatever, if we're in chaos all the time, then we might not see the answer or a direction, or maybe just a hint to go over here, or to read, or to do whatever it may be in your life. That there are clues all over the place. It was like, for some reason I was like, I don't know, I'm going to go down to the river, check it out. Then went down to the next river, and then went down one more to the creek, and there was the beaver there, and saw it this evening. So it's like, and the turkey, and the and other wildlife signs. But in this time of like, we are alone but we're together, I want to quit using that word alone. We're never alone. But at the same time, we're not all sitting in the same stadium, okey doke, but we are still all part of the stadium, the cosmic stadium. We are all members of the league of like-minded beings, and that we are all sharing this. And so I thank you all for your participation, for hanging out with me. I hope this has helped make some sense if you haven't considered these things already. But Lance, you know me, I'm always trying to poke in corners over here that maybe somebody else hasn't talked about, in that it's part of our awareness as shamans in training, as spiritual beings. If you don't think this is one great giant test, oh, I couldn't have dreamed up a better scenario if I was just, writing a play or a story. Holy crap, a whole planet? Wow. Robert Heinlein and some of these guys would have flipped a wig if they'd have thought that a planet would, be affected the way it has been up to this point. And that possibly our reactions in general, overall, like, when I say overall, if 60% of the population were acting a particular way, then I'd say, but only 30 or 40% of the population seems to be like really wonky. The rest of us seem to be like coping okay. And I think by our collective coping and our emotional stability with these things, we're keeping the rest of this mess at bay, because we haven't overreacted. It's as simple as that. Well, I don't know if Hawkeye's really right about this. Because we haven't overreacted, that's the effect we've had. So, those of you naysayers out there that want to argue this point, because we did not overreact, we've had a positive effect. Period. It's the observer thing. Our observations said, and what has been the result? Up to this point, here we are. Let's see where this takes us. Now, I know there are a lot of sticks in the mud and things and stuff. It ain't perfect by no stretch. But we have to look at the overall, oh, holy crap, this could have been worse, and how we wish our outcome to come. What do we foresee? What do we, as the observer, want out of this tomorrow or the next day or next week or next month or next year? What do we want out of this from this experience? So it's going to be interesting to see how people put their 10 cents, 20 cents, or $1 million into the future of after this, how we interact, what we do, protocols. There's going to be some changes, whether most people see them or not. But excuse me, the supply chain, hold that thought. Blessings, y'all. Thank you, Bob. Some coffee. There are people in the supply chain industry that I talked about back in January, and they're already reconsidering things. They're already have made changes. They're already going, holy crap, we made a mess of things, didn't we? Yeah, you did. And so um people at corporations, there were a bunch of number crunchers I used to work with. They're all have broken their pencil and are starting over. They're throwing away their playbook, and because it didn't work. It failed, and it's blatant. So whether or not, that's just a supply chain. But from the observer point of view, they were observing it working pretty good until it failed. So now they have a different perspective, you see, awareness. Well, we didn't think this would fail because it didn't up to this point. Now that they see all the flaws, they're going, son of a bitch. You know, I think we're going to plan differently for the future. So supply chains are going to change. Certain things are going to change along the way. How people handle certain things along the way. That things are going to, and how it ends up, not a clue. But I do see already some positive changes because these crazy pencil pushers are reconsidering the supply chain, the just in time thing. And so, but there are other things going along too. So, how people are reacting to each other. So anyway, it goes on and on and on and on. But I think, and I'm going to continue to pray this, because we have become compassionate observers, and because we have not overreacted, because we have held our collective sanity, we can have a positive outcome at the end of this. Simply because we didn't overreact, and because we did figure out another way around this, and because our collective thinking is now from a different point of view. 3 months ago, none of us thought the planet was going to shut down. We have a different point of view now. So our future thinking is always going to be affected by this event. We can't help it. As much as I don't want to think about 9/11, it affected me too. It affected every single one of us. This thing going forward, for every single person on this planet, it will be remembered, and in the future in history books. But how we dealt with it personally, as a family, as a city, town, country, state, blah, 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 how we reacted and how that shows up in the history books. You think about it. When in the planet's history has, 7 billion people had to do the, compromise and take a step back? Our collective futures have been, are changing, and will change because of this. Let's take it all forward with as much positive as we can. Not a clue what it's going to be, but I already see certain things that are changing. If we, put our energies, our voices, our opinions, are going to be people who may not have been listened to before are going to go, well, you know what? That crazy ass David, no, he had a good idea, a year ago about blah, 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 something, something. I'm just using myself as that asshole but I've had ideas as an engineer before, and they just, Ford engineers and Chrysler engineers, and then they turn around and come back and go, well, you know what? This actually worked. that good job. Okay, you know, don't want to put your name on anything, but thank you. And but in the grand scheme of things, though, and we need to stay humble with this. I've asked Creator every day, allow me, help me, but at the same time, allow me to give a message out. But I forever do I know everything? Oh hell no, not from some strange frequencies coming in right now. Incoming message from the big giant head. Anyway, I'm serious. I'm getting a really loud. Whoa, that was piercing. Ooh, wow. Anyway, but in the grand scheme of the cosmic world, though, our higher selves are hearing us. The uh, the alien folkses, they're angel beings. There are folks that are hearing our energies and how we did not overreact. Imagine 7 billion people freaking the F out all at one time. Okay. Now imagine what kind of energy that would create. Oh, holy crap. That could be like sincerely catastrophic. They talk about, 100 people meditating. Let's put 7 billion people in panic mode and see where this goes. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, 7 billion people didn't hit the panic mode. What was the outcome? Not a big splash in the universe in the cosmic in the cosmic sense. If anything, it was murmurings of love, a higher frequency. It was like, oh, holy crap, we're all in this together. Oh, holy crap, the whole planet. Oh, holy crap, we need to look out for each other. Oh, holy crap, we're going to stay home and take care of each other. Oh, holy crap, we're all in this together. Different from that chaos explosion that could have happened. And, if you want to say that this is an angel message, through me to you all, there are a lot of proud entities up yonder that are proud of us for what we as a collection have done because we did not freak out. And I feel blessed, in my own realm, in that, I I live as a hermit, so there are so many of these things that do affect other people have no effect on me whatsoever. Me and my other, you know, hermit friends that live around here, whatever, none of this is affecting us really. So, and we can make do if we're out of something, we're flexible, we're able to adapt, to different situations, which brings up another side point to this, our collective point of view. We as a society, look how quickly we adapted. Look how quickly that 88th monkey, I've done videos. I claim that I'm the 88th monkey. And it's an inside joke, but it's sort of in that I was the 88th one to learn how to wash my food, until everybody figured it out. But in this, people adapted so quickly to social distancing, to whatever, to respecting other people's spaces, to not getting upset about personal spaces. I haven't seen anybody argue yet. Now, I haven't been everywhere, don't get me wrong, but the majority of people are being calm about this. So, in that collective energy is a higher frequency. It's not anger, it's not killing, but so we have proved to the universe that we as a collective may not be as bad as some folks thought we were. And how we proceed in the future, I think, is very important. So we maintain our core values. We continue to be compassionate observers. We continue to spread this and keep this. Why can't we have a better future? Isn't it really up to us from this point forward? I think it is. Because after all this has happened, folks are going to start paying attention differently. You know they are. They already have. So, anyway, that's my hour-long discussion. Hey, Project, I like being home. Robert V. and of us live as hermits. Are you a hermit too, Robert? Hey, Truth and Me, how are you? I think I missed you earlier. In the woods, yeah, down here in the woods. And there's a lot of plantations around us down here. I mean, there's a lot of plantations, literally square miles of plantations. Okay, um, and two or three people live on them. But anyway, um, truth of me, I do. Robert V. Oh, the truth in me. Thank you. High vibes. Truth in me says I really do not like going out. So many elderly people. So sad. Yeah, I'm one of them elderly people, but I get out and I refuse to lay down. If it hadn't been so late today, I'd have jumped in the river with my kayak and went up and down a little ways. But at 67. I still feel like I'm like 35, but that's all up here. But anyway, a Gaza Cab, how are you? It has brought unity in a lot of ways to some folks. It has, Gaza. Um, Not a 15 in my family. We have piano, drums, guitars, board games, painting, games, love spreading time at home. Plus, I got all the garden and the permaculture converted my whole property into keeps me busy. Blessings to you. That's the right idea. I went over to visit a friend of mine, and we hadn't had like we used to get together once a week and do movie night or something. Whether we went to the movies or she come over here or I'd go over there, we just do movies, and sometimes we drink or eat a brownie or two, and way back in the old days we'd be down in acid or mushrooms. We were rambunctious back in our days, but we hadn't had a movie night in a while. And so it was like uh, we were going to play cards. We were talking on the phone the other day. We got together and didn't even play cards. It's like I don't think we could have seen the cards, but that's how good those brownies were. But anyway, uh, yeah, truth of me, I try to make them laugh. Laughter is really good, and and right now there's so many people that their reactions could have just been so much different. And the fact that there are more people who are trying to find a way to laugh about it or, plant your whole yard in a garden or whatever. I just got to say, I'm proud. I'm really more proud to, 2 years ago, I'd have said humanity ain't got a chance. But within these last 2 years and, last year about this time, those of you who've been hanging around, I asked her about it. I said, don't you think there's been a change somehow? And I think, this is we all agreed that there was some kind of cosmic awakening, that it was very subtle that it happened. But now that this has happened almost a year later, I'm looking at the situation from what we discussed a year ago ish and to now and another point of view, you see, and going, wow, I don't know if I really would have given us this much credit to get through something like this the way we have up to this point. I'm I'm shocked, surprised, and elated and pleased. And I think that's how we make the transition into the fourth dimension, because our love vibrations are going to get us there much quicker than any of this hate and lower vibrations. So, and for each person now who may have been looking at things with, with blinders on, as the horses and, do, the idea now that people's awarenesses, simply because of this event, are not the same as they were 6 months ago. So, uh, the whole paradigm has changed. Maybe we have jumped a timeline. Who knows about that? But has the planetary paradigm changed? It's a resounding yes. And I just keep praying for the good. I think we're going to make it. Well, I know we're going to make it one way or the other, but I mean, I think we're going to make it in that, you know, they're people's general overview of life and so forth, because this event happened and that it has changed each one of us and our viewpoints. We cannot erase this event from any of us that's happening to us now. So we'll see. I I'm kind of like, I can't wait for this to unfold. I'm wondering how this is going to turn out. I'm doing my meditations and thinking and praying, and everything seems to be, it ain't going to be as bad as it is once thought. Now, the bad thing is, yes, the planet's locked down. Yes, these things are the way they are right now. Hey, Jody, how are you? Blessings to you, my friend, and hope you're well and all of yours. But the fact that this has happened to every dadgum one of us, little kids, old grannies, even those who are a little lame in the brain, are going, what's going on? Something's different, you know. Not to be rude, I'm lame in the brain, and I look out the window all the time and go, something's different. So, but that's what traumatic brain injury will do to you. Make you loopy. But how we view things forward, though, there's no way we can go back with this. And who wants to? So each of us is going to bring forward our opinion, our energy, our forethought. What do we want for the future? Now, I don't, well, world peace. Well, we've already proven that we can be peaceable when we want to. We've proven how successful a pandemic, how quickly we as a society can adapt. So, from our own viewpoint, what is the biggest thing we could learn from this experience? How quickly we have adapted. Think about it. How fast did 7 billion people adapt to something? How many monkeys did it take? The 100th monkey? I'm the 88th. Okay. But so how many monkeys did it take in this scenario for us to become how we are right now with, distancing and everything and the changes and the blah, 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 How fast did we adapt to this? Think about it. 7 billion people adapted within 4 months. 7 billion of us have adapted in one way or another in less than 4 months. That's a record. I don't care who you are. That's a record. You can look out there in the universe and go, when's the last time 7 billion people changed their way of thinking and how they looked at the universe and didn't kill one another? 7 billion people. We deserve a gold star. Yeah, I mean, in the overall, get 700 kids in an auditorium, you're going to have a ruckus. 7 billion people on the planet, minor ruckus. Little arguments on the side, considering the whole. Our viewpoint. What's the biggest thing we could learn? How we have adapted. How we can adapt. From our viewpoint, I bet some of you go, I never would have thought of that. And now you're doing something that's different. You've adapted. You've allowed your awareness and the universe to give you a different point of view and to maybe give you a solution. We've adapted. And we will continue to adapt to this. So how we put forward, how we adapt to this, what's happening now, it's up to us individually. Now, for me down here, I'm going to plant some more seeds, keep up with the projects, and do the best I can, which is what I was doing anyway. So in my world, that's not necessarily going to change that much. But to other people who didn't have a flipping clue about some of this stuff 6 months ago are now planting gardens and they're being more careful and they got da 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 and they're like, you know. So to them, their paradigm has changed greatly. In my world, about that much. Same. I still got the same issues I had before this. I'll still have the same issues after this, depending on how the big picture plays out. But because of my choices, but there are other people who I bet you are going to be reevaluating their choices and going, you know what? Whether this event ever happens again, I realize that my situation, maybe I should change my point of view or my viewpoint or my location or whatever. Maybe I should be more adaptable. Maybe I should learn how to, uh, not just spiritually or mentally, but, adapt, be able to adapt to whatever good, bad, crappy situation or whatever and still maintain your dignity. And for example, I was watching several things, all these, Doctor Who, and he's a prisoner, and he's a that, and he's a. Here's the thing, you know, um, there are those who say, well, I am. Each of us are a sovereign being. Okay, let's put that out there. But there are individuals and societies and other critters around us that would choose to take that sovereignty away. Now, I've spoken about this before in that I was in jail, but they didn't take my soul. I didn't sell out to the company. I never had to bend over or do anything untoward in that respect to, achieve what I did when I was in prison. What I did was I showed respect. I did a good job. I did what I said. I was honorable, and that's what got me forward. But even in jail, I still maintained my own personal sovereignty. Even if it had been Nazi Germany or whatever, and they'd have shot me, I would have died with my own sovereignty. Now, society dictates whether or not you can express your sovereignty around other people. But whether or not there are some people, but my sovereign right, regardless, you still retain your sovereign right. But other people could shoot you, kill you, burn your house down, level run you over with a truck. Does that mean that you have lost your sovereignty? Not a bit. Your sovereignty is you, your soul, your energy, your spirit. And unless you give it up, they can't take it from you. So, but in the sense of as a physical being, your sovereignty as a United States citizen, that's all fine as long as you play the games. And I've played the game and still got arrested over dumb shit or, gotten hassled by the man. A lot of us have in some way, shape, or another. Just some, big, that wanted to show his authority around. And my sovereign rights were infringed upon. Uh, but, you know, when a guy's holding a gun to your head, you don't worry about your sovereign rights. You whether or not you're going to get your brain splattered on the inside of the car or not. You consider your options because you have a different point of view, and you will reevaluate what your sovereignty is when you got. See, I've had a 38 snub nose loaded with the hammer back pointed between my eyes, and I still have nightmares of that. So when I speak that I've had a pistol at my head, I'm not joking. Undercover narc agent with a snub nose at between my eyeballs. I can still see the bullets at the end of it. Anyway, that's one picture you try not to remember. But the idea though that did I have, well, I broke the law. Well, does that have to do with your sovereignty? Your soul and you and who you are. So yes, they took me out to jail. Yes, I had to go to prison. Yes, I had to service But also at the same time, I realized that even though they had done that to me, I still retained myself as a sovereign being. Now, that may be hard to understand for some folks to like really grasp. And, I've been taken against my will and put in a mental hospital. I've been tied and chained to, gurneys. I've been given medicines against my will. So have I been abused and used by the system? Yes. But to the same point, after all of it's through, they didn't take my sovereign right as a being because I refused to give it to them. Now, there's a lot of other sovereign things, and we could argue the point, but we must think of this as shamans in training in a much higher realm of thinking. We can't just leave it as, well, but that is important, but there are certain things. You think all them Jews over in Nazi Germany wanted to get stripped and, and shot and laid in big pits, and you think, no, but they kept their dignity as they went to those things. They kept their sovereign right in that they maintained their dignity even though they were going to be killed and end up in a big pile with a bunch of their friends and relatives. But they maintained that sovereign right. They could have run, they could have done. Yes, external forces, you know, change the situation, but the individuals themselves. So it requires a higher level of thinking in some of these things that a martyr, not that I want to be a martyr, but they say, um, the Christians that went to the lions, you're going to denounce Jesus? No, chomp, yum yum, eat them up. There goes the lion's dinner. But with that said, though, that they kept their sovereignty, they kept their soul, they kept themselves, they kept who they were, they kept their belief, whether it was the right thing to do or not to get eaten by a lion to say yes to or no to Jesus. Not the point. They kept their sovereign right to believe in who they were and etc. You see, so the sovereignty of self goes way beyond this 3D dimension. Now, I've been hassled, I've been handcuffed, I've been manhandled, I've been probed. Look, I get it about the sovereignty as a human being and our civil rights. I really get it. But that's by understanding, but there is a much higher awareness to that our individual sovereignty. And in the spiritual realm, it took me a year in jail to figure it out. And I've been manhandled and probed since then. But to the point, though, for each time I've learned, like, well, holy crap, we got the game warden in the neighborhood pulled us over. How you doing? What y'all doing down here? Well, we were out after curfew, but this is the country. Well, and I told him the truth. I live up the road on Zion Grove, and the river runs in my backyard, and we was bored and run down here to see how the river was doing. Well, y'all take care and blah blah blah. Nice guy, and I want the game warden to be on my side. But as a public official, I've met some other folks who were game wardens who would have been real gruff. Well, what you doing out here, y'all? You're out riding around. Don't you know there's a coronavirus going on? No. So, but with that though, people's reactions and what's our viewpoint and how we retain our sovereignty. So I always, treat these folks with respect and hi, how you doing? Good to see you. Blah blah blah. Oh, I just live up the road. So I'm going to be friendly and cordial rather than, well, what are you asking me for? I'm a sovereign being. You ain't got no right to ask me what the hell I'm doing down here on this dirt road. It- mm, you know, so as a sovereign being, I choose to be polite and honorable and show respect, and I get that in return. I didn't used to be that way, back in my old hippie days. Oh, you the man, yeah, yeah, you pig, blah, 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 So, but I had my sovereign right to act that way, and realized after a while through wisdom and some perseverance and some prison time that maybe your sovereign rights are more than my right to go demonstrate in public and blah blah blah. And then when you get arrested, you go, but my sovereign rights. Well, stupid. Maybe you should have reconsidered what that sovereignty meant. Uh, Point of view, viewpoint. Now your viewpoint changes, and down you go. Anyway, so events, people, situations, the weather, strange weather events, just the way certain patterns are on the planet right now, by the way, y'all. Earth wobble, we'll see, but some strange events. But in general, though, as far as our point of view, our sovereignty as beings, you know, can't nobody take it from us unless we give it up. And even though some of these uh, religious leaders, the priest took away my sovereignty as a spiritual being because of what they did or tried to do, but wait a minute, hang on, I gave it to them in that I allowed it to happen. And I had to get over that too. But in so many different things, well, they took did they take it or I allowed it to happen? Now, what's happened in the past is in the past, but in the future, can someone take my sovereignty now? No, not even if they arrest me, because I understand my sovereignty as a being, as not just in this 3D. I understand it differently. So, Buddha, can you take it out of it? No, because once you understand what it is, it doesn't matter. The rest of it doesn't matter. Do I want to be imprisoned? Oh, hell no. But if the circumstances came and they came down here and they got guns, and my choices are that, well, then have I given up my sovereignty? No, I had to give up my house at gunpoint. Different. I didn't give it up. It was taken. Or did they take it? Or do I retain it? And they've just, it's a big deal. It's a great big giant step in the realm of your own awareness. And I get all these different levels. Trust me, I do. But there's another frequency wave coming through. But so, and each of you will find that out in whatever way, in whatever your path in life will be. But it was a big understanding for me to understand what my sovereignty meant. And it means me. And no matter what they do to me, I still retain my sovereignty. Still retain my core, who I am. They can beat me, chain me, drug me, tie me, which they've done all of the above. But I'm still me at the end of it. I still have it. I went through it. I played their game. I smiled, signed their papers, and got out. And guess what? I'm a better on the other side of this. I stay away from them kind of people now. you know I've learned a few things, and I learned that, guess what, even though they did that to me, I'm still a sovereign. I'm still me. I'm still a sovereign being, regardless of what they did to me. But whether or not I want to drag it forward, that's another thing. It's a past event. I can now look at those, being tied to the bed and being pumped full of meds that you didn't want and stuck in a mental hospital against your will, Baker acted. And that, wait a minute now. So my reaction, can I bring that up in the trauma if I allow it? I can look at it now and go, well, that was some weird shit, wasn't it, Dave? How did we get into that? I went to the hospital because I had a testicularitis kind of thingy. And I went to the hospital for that. And I ended up in a loony bin for 3.5 days. And they took all my stuff and did this and did that. And holy crap. And I just went to the emergency room. What's all that about? Anyway, But so how drastic and how quickly things can change. But now looking back on it, I can go, well, I still maintained me. When I realized that, oh, holy crap, you ain't getting out of this unless you play their game, I could jump up and down and scream and holler and force them to listen to me. And that would just in turn make me a little crazier. So you sit back and you play their game and you answer their questions and you be civil about it. You maintain your sovereign being. And but with a calm, emotional, guess what? From a controlled observational point of view. So I'm watching all these people around, all these shrinks, and all these people trying to evaluate me, who most of them don't know me. A couple of them knew me from theater and from doing puppet shows. And they were kind of snickering off to the side, going, "He's sane. He's just a little weird, but he's sane," you know. But then there are the crazy doctors who were crazier than I was, trying to tell me that I was crazy, but Mr. No, you don't get it. And the other ladies are going, because I answered the question differently. But it was my sovereign right to answer that or not to answer it. And I had to choose my words very carefully. Otherwise, they would have kept me for another 3 days. So, but, in that, did they take away who I am? No. How I reacted, my observation of all of these Looney Tunes that were trying to keep me committed, or whether or not I could use my own sovereign observer, compassionate observer, and not go overboard with anything and go, okay, the question is this, here's the answer. Well, the question is that there's the answer. Was it? Well, he didn't get upset. We asked him something that should have pissed him off, but I didn't see him. No, because I'm in emotional control. You guys have me in handcuffs and a straitjacket, and but I'm gonna smile and show my dignity and my own honor, if you will, and my own sovereignty, which is my soul. So, regardless of how you treat me, I'm going to act this way. That is, that is what we should achieve for. Not that we should put ourselves in a position to get arrested and blah blah. Not my point at all. But from the observer point of view, we observe those around us, and I've been able to pick my way through some really crappy situations and still maintain my sovereignty, which I'm still here after all this crazy shit that I've talked about in my life. I'm still here. I'm still a whole person mostly. Um, and I still can make certain choices in my own life, and I am still that sovereign being with the wisdom and the knowledge and the bruises from past experience. So, my friends, I love you. I do. I hope that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, and all of your relations are doing as well as possible, and that you will continue to accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom of the universe. I honestly cannot stress that enough. But at the same point, my friends, I do honestly believe we're doing better than expected. My humble opinion. So, but folks, is okay. Truth to me, I'm making quinoa salad. Anyone want any broccoli and cauliflower, peppers, onion, and chickpea sauces, honey, apple cider vinegar, Italian seasoning, and then a huge stash of love. That actually sounds pretty good. And I was thinking today or yesterday of I like vinegar and oil on mine, and my pops bought me as a birthday present one year some balsamic vinegar. Oh my God, this stuff was like to die for. But anyway, so yeah, I'm kind of on your side with that, Teresa. Hey, thank you, Michelle. Shauna D, how are you? Um, uh, Truth to me says I always want to make something for everyone, but David is sharing. If we could all just like grab our fork and just have a big old salad in the middle and eat from it, that would be fun. We used to do that back in the day. Uh, Thank you, Truth and Me. Mike Morales. Is he the guy, the weather guy? Sean D. Yeah, Jody says, yes, please. Want that. Yeah. I don't know about the bacon or chicken, but, you know, hey, all these other wonderful things are really, golly, I think I can. You know what, Truth of Me, I think I can smell that damn salad, but, I got the smell of the vinegar and the balsamic and the thingy, and no, crap, now I want a salad. But anyway, um, oh, and just for they got a lot of there's a lot of cabbage that's grown around here, and it's cabbage time. So anyway, my friends, I love you. I do. Thank you so much. And from my heart and my soul, and from my sovereign being, I continue to pray that each and every one of you will, take advantage of whatever we might get, but keep up the good work. Keep up the faith. Don't give into these silly nonsense, but keep aware of it. Keep your emotions out of it, and don't get drugged down into the chaos. I've talked about the chaos thing a lot, you know, and there's so much chaos, you just have to kind of sit back and take a step back, and sometimes it sounds like an orchestra. You'd be surprised at sometimes the melody the overall chaos can make, not in a negative way, but in just a weird, just in weird melodies. But anyway, dang, it's almost 2 hours, and I didn't know whether or not I was going to have enough to talk about this. But there you go, me and my motor mouth. I love you all. Cosmic hugs, Teresa, Truth and Me, Project Sky, Shauna D, Michelle, always. David Castle, if you're back there anywhere. Millie Cow, Jody, as always, blessings, my friend. Michelle, and see who else I missed. Project, uh, yeah, let's see. Miss Deb, always. Teresa, I think I got everybody. My friends, thank you so much, and continued blessings. Let's give a big ween out to the universe, and thank you to Bob for a fairly. I didn't see too many glitches. It froze a couple times, so thank you, Bob, and thank you to YouTube and to the universe. And whether or not we have glitches in the universe, we should always say thank you and be gracious for the things that we do have. Now there was a little hiccup right in there. But until next time, my friends, please be safe and always stay healthy. Thank you for Truth in Me. Now I got Dominic. There you are. Blessings to you, and love back to all of y'all. And now I want a damn salad, and I ain't got nothing to make one with. But anyway, next time I go to the store, I'll see if they got any fresh lettuce. But anyway, my friends, I always end with a prayer, and I will do this again. I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, all of your relatives and relations, will accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom from the universe. That's actually the second time I've said that. But I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, your relatives, all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will learn to accept and receive and share the wisdom, the healing, and knowledge, and the wisdom of the universe. And I continue to pray that each and every one of you will understand the higher level thinking of what it is to be a sovereign being, not just a sovereign human being, but a sovereign being. And no one should be allowed to beat us, bang us, or whatever. But at the same time, as long as we retain our personal sovereignty and our soul beings of who we are, they can't take that from us. We have to give it up. So sometimes it's hard to retain it, I got to admit. But my friends, love and prayers until next time. And hope to see you soon. Got a couple other subjects, but crap, I talked about so much tonight in 2 hours. We'll see. I love you. Till next time. Ween. Thank you, Bob. Cheers, everybody, and the Dante, and to all of the crew and the Christus, and all of those who understand. And for those who don't, we say to the Christus always. We thank you to the angels and the archangels archangels. We thank you to the spirits and to the universe. We thank you for what we have and what we continue to receive. My friends, until next time, keep it between the ditches. Be kind, be sweet, and above all, be happy regardless of where you're at. TTFN from South Georgia. Until next time, I love you all. Take care.